What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Basic Black Becky. Once again, we have sports revolutionaries. I just will say, first of all, everything they say does not represent me as an individual, okay? It may represent, maybe other blacks may feel like they're being represented by this group, but these types of revolutionaries do not speak for me, and I'm sure there's a lot of other blacks who feel the same way. I have nothing against what these brothers are doing. I'm not going to discount any of their experiences. You guys probably think that I'm going to go off on these guys. You would be right. Except there are two things I love about this whole group. So I love indie films and I love hockey. I'm just going to throttle back a little bit on this conversation. I'm going to spare you guys the full almost 40 minutes. Typical ramblings that I'm used to hearing after every Black History Month, yada, 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 inspiration, change, and hope. Do we have to hear this again? It's not even February, and y'all are wilding out.
Entire Hockey Diversity Alliance is together on one platform, and we're on just a little encapsulation about the formation of your relationship and how that actually led to the genesis of the HDA.
I think we all would like to know how the HDA got started.
Team story first broke. I know we were all taken back.
All right. Now stick a pin in your mind with that statement that he just made right there. Take a Post-it note, whatever it is you got to do, but keep in mind that statement he just made right there. Now, I know I said I was going to throttle back because these guys are some great hockey players here, okay? And in order to be a hockey player, to play at this level that they're at, you ain't no bitch, okay? You're not soft, okay? And this is why I don't get invited to family barbecues, because if you're going to make a point, I'm going to find a hole and capsize your boat and make you answer for the statements that you made. Okay, now let's go.
By the news and wanted to support him and what he was going through at that time. And as we continued to talk, those conversations kind of fizzled out a little bit as the course of the NHL season continued. And I think obviously with his story coming out again, and being reinvigorated with the Players Tribune article, and unfortunately having the George Floyd death and the Breonna Taylor death and the Ahmaud Arbery, it just really became apparent to us that something needs to change, not only in society but in the hockey world, and we felt it was important that our voices are finally heard and united.
It's been a massive impact, the Black Lives Matter movement on a global scale, and watching the level of brutalization of our people, continuously going on.
Oh, you mean the brutalization that Black Lives Matter wants to leave Black children in by removing fathers out of the home and exposing them to financial, psychological, emotional, having difficulties in conflict resolution? Yeah, that is brutalizing to Black families, which leaves children in vulnerable circumstances.
I'm just curious if I can pose this question to a few of you here. How does this moment intersect with your personal experiences as men of color who are professional athletes who play in a sport that's predominantly white?
I think for me, the outside world, that this stuff actually happens, and I'm happy for social media, because it can really expose these things. Obviously, we watched George Floyd have a knee on his neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds.
Now, I said I was not going to do the whole 39 minutes of this Zoom teleconference call, and I'm not. Okay, but there were some things that as I was listening to this conference that resonated with me, and I have to pull them out because it's very important, because there are a lot of people in the comment sections of the subreddit and the YouTube video that are saying they are happy that this is going to bring about change, but it's not the kind of change that they're thinking of that these revolutionaries are pushing into the public discourse. Now, he mentioned that social media is a blessing. Yes, social media can be a blessing and it can also be a curse. We all saw the video of George Floyd having a knee in his neck and being traumatized by that footage. And with the number 846, 8 minutes and 46 seconds is reiterating, bringing back the trauma of seeing that. That trauma is never going to go away in any of us. Okay, it has been lodged in our subconscious brain forever. And by him bringing up the numbers 846 is causing people to regress and to remember and to be re-traumatized once again by that video footage. Now, I'm done. Let's go.
I've had several incidences within the hockey world.
Remember that pin I told y'all to make when Evander made that statement? It didn't take long. It didn't take long. So how are you guys going to how's Evander Kane going to sit here and say, we formed this alliance after being taken back what happened to Akeem in the early 2000s, when Wayne Simmons himself said that he had experienced throughout his hockey career racist incidents, in quotes. So that tells me that you guys formed this alliance in order to push an agenda on the American people. I'm not falling for this, man. Come on. Y'all can do better than this.
The crossroads, that I came to was being here in Calgary and, wanting to make a difference. And where George Floyd passed is, a mile and a half from where I live in Minnesota. So that community, it, holds a special place in my heart. It's somewhere that, I go for food. I go for my tattoos.
Did this brother just say food and tattoos? I mean, is that all that Minnesota has to offer is food and tattoos? Oh my God. That's why I can't take y'all seriously. I can't.
I go for some of the charity work I do with the nonprofits that I work with in Minnesota, specifically ACES, Athletes Committed to Educating Students. I go into those schools and some kids may not know who I am because hockey hasn't reached that community because of the economic divide.
I'm going to be fair with that statement he just made and say, hallelujah. He's right. Before the start of youth hockey season, my son wanted to be a goalie. Hockey is a very expensive investment for your children. So I went to Play It Again Sports to price out his equipment. I looked at the price tags, and every price tag had like 3 numbers. I looked at my son and said, sorry, don't mean to crush your dreams, but we can't afford this right now. You're going to have to learn to play forward, center, or defense. Because in order for me to invest this type of money for you to play hockey, you better go pro. Because we can't do this yet. So they're saying that black people can't afford hockey equipment, but black people can afford to buy $200-$300 shoes and $1,000 phones for their kids. But I don't mean to change the subject or anything. But anyway, what were y'all saying again?
Have you felt through your journey, your journey in this game, that you've had to separate your culture from the sport in order to, you know what I'm saying, kind of maneuver and strategically move through this?
Try to fit in, you mean?
Yeah.
Growing up playing hockey as a black kid, I think for all of us, we've overcome, the racial slurs. We've overcome all that, and we all have thick skin and reach the NHL.
Man, that brother got some nice ass teeth. He's not a bad hockey player either, so.
This has been going on since the start of hockey, the racism stuff. So for us, I think just speaking out on this problem and, eventually trying to stop it, like Matt said.
Now, I want y'all to understand that I am not angry by what these brothers are doing, by speaking up and speaking out about an issue that has impacted their lives in many ways, in many areas. Haven't we all been in a situation or seen a situation where we knew it was straight up wrong, but we didn't speak out? We are all guilty, turning our backs and not speaking up for what is right. None of us cares about a cause or an injustice until it happens to you personally or to someone you love. No one cares about cancer unless it affects you personally or someone you love. No one cares about drunk driving until it affects you personally or to someone you love. No one cares if someone else's child is kidnapped and sold into child sex trafficking unless it was done to you personally or to your own child.
I can relate a lot to this subject because I've, experienced this kind of thing firsthand. I've seen it with my own eyes. I've heard it with my own ears. So,
See? That's what I'm talking about. Point match. Give me my trophy so I can go home.
I think growing up, you kind of just had to accept the fact that you were different. I kind of understood that at an early age, and there wasn't ever one time that I tried to hide who I was or run away from my ethnicity or my background. I was always super proud of that.
This is what we call in the Black community passing white, Negro emeritus. I bet growing up as a young boy and as a young man and a young adult that he got all kinds of flack and shit from Black people because they never knew that he was a Black man, calling him a racist and a cracker, all kinds, snow beast. I mean, my son was bullied at his school because he had fair skin, like Nazim, and he was called a cracker, a snow beast, white boy. But then when they saw me come up to the school and visit him for lunch one day, they said, "Oh, your mama is Black." Yeah, we know, Nazim. We know how you feel. We know how you felt. It's okay.
For me, once I heard, that this alliance was forming, it was a no-brainer for me to be a part of it. And, simply because, as some of the other boys said, to piggyback off them.
Oh, no, he didn't. He just called them niggas boys.
Hearing these, vulgar comments, you start to kind of desensitize yourself a little bit and, go numb to the fact that, people are calling you these names where, it shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be like that. People, should be facing a consequence. They should know that there's a severe consequence. And, I think if we stick together, some serious change can be made. And that's really.
Okay, let me just think about what he just said. So he is saying anybody in the NHL, coaches, players, fans, want to use derogatory racial slurs or derogatory terms, period, there should be consequences. They should be canceled. And I agree. Let's look at the entertainment industry as a whole, particularly hip hop. You have hip hop artists who use the derogatory terms, ho, nigga, bitch. Now, I agree with his statement. If anyone in the entertainment industry wants to use derogatory slurs to degrade another human being, they should be canceled. Their endorsements and advertisements pulled. Because if this is about equality, then let's keep it 100. It's about equality, Jack.
Joel, because we haven't gotten you in so much. This is a question that I think is we'll see how you roll with it. But why do you feel it was necessary or is necessary for the HDA to be independent of the National Hockey League?
Excellent question. Now, brothers, stop touching your faces. Rona is still around.
I think a big first word that comes to mind is accountability. If we were stranglehold, I was going to say stranglehold, but we tied into an organization or.
Yeah, brother, you can't say what you really want to say because you all have contracts with the NHL, who have contract with all 6 of the media companies who own all factions of sports and entertainment. So you are all still on that plantation.
Talk about being independent. I think a lot of us feel, and I'll speak for everybody on this, is as minorities in the NHL and coming through hockey, we've been undervalued and we've been overlooked. And it's baffling to me that that's still going on. And then it's gone on ever since I've been in the league. And I look at the group that we have here on the screen, and it's concerning. And you would think that you would want to use us and present us as minorities in such a white sport in a great light, and use it to your advantage to create a more diverse game, because that at the end of the day is what is going to sell. You look at
Undervalued how, bro? How, Sway? First y'all formed this group saying we're tired of people taking advantage of us, and now you flip-flopped again saying take advantage of us for more ticket sales. Oh my God. I mean, if I was a normal person, I would be confused, but I'm not. Y'all just making me mad because y'all formed this group and gave it some god-awful name that a Jedi would get from a bad, wet dream. Are y'all for real? This is not the revolution I asked for. I want my money back, please.
Great way to segue into some of the action points the Hockey Diversity Alliance really wants to push forward.
One of our major initiatives is the grassroots. Just giving them that assistance to push them to that next level.
Will y'all give this brother some coffee? He is the architect of a revolution. He's the headmaster of Che Guevara and Bushwick Bill Academy.
creating some sort of policy outline and educational program for not only kids in the game of hockey or entering their season, but coaches and management as well. You know, my dad always said, you have to be 10 times better than that white kid just to get an opportunity, the same opportunity that he gets. And that always stuck with me. So that's why, that's probably part of the reason I work so hard, is because I just wanted the same opportunity. In order to get that, I had to be so much better than that other guy just to get that same opportunity. And that goes for probably every single guy in this call.
I teach my son that principle as well. Everybody is born with an equal opportunity to be successful. But how you react to circumstances and situations that go along with that opportunity will determine your outcome and level of success. So let's just say that one day, the citizens of the world had decided to manufacture only one type of deodorant. Just one. There is no competition. And everyone has to wear this one type of deodorant. The chemicals that comprise that product will react differently to the level of pH that is in their bodies. And those reactions will be different. And a small minority of people experience rashes. Some people funk more than others. And some will still sweat profusely. Now, if you are, unfortunately, one of those people who have had that adverse effect happen to you, what are you going to do? Well, you're going to stop using the deodorant or make your own deodorant.
So part of our initiatives and part of our policies will be teaching not only coaches, management staff, and holding the parents accountable as well for their own kids' behavior, because I think that is a big part that's missing. Kids they're not born racist, they're taught it. And so many different things that have been happening that we've talked about. Why now? Well, it's because it's convenient. It's because people feel comfortable, and it's because we as minorities have pushed them or nudged them to do so.
White people, just give up. Just give up. It's over. What are you trying to hold on to? He just laid out for you all what this movement is going to do. This movement is going to push white people to the brink of insanity until white people give these black revolutionaries what they want. And will somebody go get Akeem some coffee? The brother is ready to lay down.
Black minority going into the office or wherever you're working, it's the same as hockey as well, but you got to put on a face.
Mm.
You don't talk the same way you do your coworkers that you do with your black friends.
I'm sorry to laugh, but in saying that, I can have a full conversation with you guys, and then play that conversation with someone else, and they'd have no clue what we were talking about. Not a chance. And then I've had guys say to me, I've even had guys say to me, "Why you talk so black?"
I'm sorry, brother, but I'm not hearing black dude from you. I mean, if everybody had just heard your voice, just closed their eyes and heard your voice, they'd have thought backwoods Tennessee or Alabama. Just saying.
You don't dare speak like Ebonics or anything like that. You know what I mean? You got to speak. You put your white voice on.
You put on your corporate voice on.
Yeah.
The rule of thumb that I have given myself in regards to communicating in mixed company, I will speak as if I'm speaking to a judge in a court of law. My speech will be articulate, concise, and clear. Because if I go in a court of law speaking Ebonics, the judge will feel as if I'm being antagonistic and disrespectful. And when my speech is being understood by the majority of people in that room, I will have a better perception with people, and the outcome of my affairs will be better.
Or anyone who wants to jump in, what are the specific next steps for the Alliance? And it's with that mandate to grow the game. But what is the most immediate thing that you want to do next to kind of make that impact?
Well, what we're doing right now is we're furthering the conversation. As you can imagine, we want to be able to affect change at the youth level immediately. You know, we've had people talk, well, why don't you have women? Why don't you have this? Why don't you have that? And we're working towards that. It's going to take time, but at the same time.
Time. We've been on COVID lockdown for 4 months. 4 months, brother. Y'all didn't think within that 4 months to write out a mission statement or a, projected path on how to implement these programs, crunch some numbers to get a view of how this would financially impact hockey families, whether good or bad. But y'all didn't think to do that? You got the means and the clout. In the beginning of this conversation, y'all were all hot talking that revolutionary game. And now at the end of it, y'all gonna dissipate like a fart. Y'all been around white people all this time. Y'all learned a game, but not the right type of game. Okay. So I'm just done, you guys, with this, whatever you want to call it, organization, alliance. Alliance? Really? What are you guys aligning yourself with? The better question is, who are you aligning yourselves to? In these last days, we are in a spiritual battle. We're not battling these brothers. We're battling the spirit that's behind this agenda. Re-education for parents? Racial and gender quotas in the NHL? Oh, yeah. They're talking about bringing women in the NHL too, And a hotline for children to get in contact with players? Sounds kind of 1984 to me. I don't know. What the hell is this? The Hockey Super Friends and Evander Kane is just going to roll up when you calling? Super Hockey Friends, roll out. Better not roll up on my pad. If you guys enjoyed this video, I know it's a little long. I know I said I wasn't going to give you guys the whole thing. I did keep my promise. The rest of it was just a whole bunch of talking points and people sounding like they're running for Congress or something. And I'm just like, we had a black president that talked about hope and change for 2 terms, and manifested in his tenure is more division and more racial strife in this country. So that's all I gotta say about that. Hope everything works out for the HDA. And I hope you guys get it together and it won't be too late when you guys finally get your plan together and finally get your sponsors and finally do the things that you guys say that you want to do for other minority children to enjoy the sport before esports decides to take over, because a lot of y'all are just tripping at this point. So anyway, you guys enjoy the rest of your day. I'm going to enjoy mine. Take care. Peace. You want to hear something? something? Sure. Okay. I'm gonna tell you something we used to say when we were kids. If you white, you right. If you black, you lack. If you beige, you play with clay. If you're African, you eat cracklings.